welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to look at the multiple choice section of the 2021 paper. The link for this paper is in the description box below. Here is question 1. You're to identify the element with similar chemical properties to fluorine. This means that you need to find an element which is in the same group as fluorine. Fluorine is in group 7, it is a halogen. Therefore, you need to find another element from group 7. You can use your data book to help you with this. Chlorine is the other element which is in group 7 from this list. Question 2. An atom has an atomic number of 15. This means that it has 15 protons. Therefore, we can eliminate C and D as options. The question also gives you information about mass number. Mass number tells you how many protons and neutrons there are added together. There are no mention of neutrons in the answers, therefore you can ignore this piece of information. The final part of the question says that this is an atom. Atoms have the same number of protons and electrons, therefore A is the answer. Question 3 is about the shape of these molecules. Let's sketch out the shape for each of them. HCl only contains 2 atoms, so we'll have a linear shape. Carbon dioxide, whilst containing 3 atoms, is also linear due to the 2 double bonds. Nitrogen trichloride will have a trigonal pyramidal shape rather than trigonal planar. This is because of the lone pair on the nitrogen. CHCl3 will have a tetrahedral shape. This is because carbon forms 4 bonds, and here we have them arranged tetrahedrally around the carbon. Therefore, C is the answer. For question 4, we have sulfur dioxide gas. This means that we need a state symbol of G. Therefore, we can eliminate both A and D. It states that this is then dissolved in water. Water is a liquid, so should have a state symbol of L. This means that we can eliminate C, and therefore B will be the answer. For question 5, you need to do a calculation. You're using the C equals N divided by V calculation. Please remember to convert your volume into litres by dividing the centimetres cubed by 1000 first. This will then give you a volume of 0.25 litres. You should then take the 0.2 moles and divide by the 0.25 litres to give you 0.8 moles per litre for the concentration. This gives you the answer C for this question. Question 6 is asking which substance exists as a diatomic molecule. Diatomic molecules contain 2 atoms. Let's look at each of the formulae. Nitrogen monoxide is NO, nitrogen dioxide is NO2, dinitrogen monoxide is N2O, and dinitrogen tetroxide is N2O4. Therefore, A is the answer as it contains 2 atoms. Which of the following compounds is a base? A base is something which neutralizes an acid and can be a metal oxide, a metal hydroxide, or a metal carbonate. Metal nitrates, sulfates, and chlorides are all salts which are formed upon the neutralization of an acid. Therefore, D, magnesium carbonate, is the base. For question 8, we're looking at the dilution of an acid. An acid has a pH of less than 7. When you dilute an acid, you increase the pH closer to 7. Therefore, we can eliminate B and D. When you do this, you decrease the H+ ion concentration, giving us the answer C. For question 9, we have 4 experiments to look at, and we are focusing on experiment 2. All of the statements are to do with hydrogen or hydroxide ions, therefore we should focus on the pH. This is 11, which means it is alkaline. The definition of an alkaline substance has more hydroxide ions than hydrogen ions, D. Question 10 looks at the same experiments. We are to compare those for the effect of pH on dyeing cloth. This means we need to keep the temperature constant, so we can eliminate experiment 3, which is at temperature 30 degrees, whilst the rest are at 20. We also need to keep the fabric constant, which means we can eliminate experiment 1, which is cotton, where the other 2 are nylon. For question 11, we have a straight chain molecule with formula C16H28, which has single or double bonds between carbon atoms. You are to work out how many carbon double bonds there are. If you had a fully saturated compound with 16 carbon atoms, it would have to follow the general formula CnH2n plus 2. If that was the case, the formula would be C16H34. If we take the difference in hydrogen atoms, 34 minus 28, we have 6 hydrogen atoms. This means that there must be 3 double bonds within the molecule, as you will take off 2 hydrogen atoms for every double bond. For question 12, we're looking for the compound which does not belong to the family with general formula CnH2n plus 2O. We're going to look at the formula for each of the compounds. The first one is C3H6O. We can see already that this does not follow the general formula. All of the other compounds have the formula C3H8O and are isomers of each other. Therefore, A is the answer to this question. For question 13, you should try to draw this out first yourself. Find the longest chain of carbons and use that as the backbone to write out your shortened structural formula. The longest chain here contains 5 carbons, as you can see in the diagram above. If we then start from the bottom of the diagram and move across, we should end up with the same answer, which is in the options below. So we have CH3, CH2, then we have a carbon with 2 methyl groups attached, CH2 and then CH3. If you then look at each of the options in turn and find which one matches the one that you have written out, it is C. For question 14, we have 1,2-dichloroethane with 2 structures known as cis and trans. The cis structure has the chlorine atoms on the same side and the trans on the opposite side. This means that we need to have the chlorine atoms on carbons 1 and 2, so we can eliminate B and D where this is not the case. If we then look at A and C, on A they're on the same side of the double bond, and on C they're on the opposite side, leaving A as the answer. For question 15, we're looking at a compound called an ester. The bit to focus on is the part in the middle, and try and find a molecule which has the same part. When you look at C, you have the same part but it's being flipped over, but it is still the same functional group. This means that C is also an ester. Finding the correct formula for this molecule. Start from the hex to ene. So find which of these options has 6 carbons in a row with a double bond from the second carbon. This means that you can eliminate C because the longest chain of carbons is 5, and you can eliminate B because the double bond is on carbon 1. You then need to find that which has the branches on 2 and 4 relative to the double bond. A has them further along the chain, where D has them on 2 and 4. For question 17, we're looking at boiling points. Boiling points are affected by intermolecular forces between the molecules. We don't break any covalent bonds when we boil a substance, so you can eliminate A and C. If the forces of attraction are stronger, then you'll have a higher boiling point, therefore it's D. In question 18, we're looking for the spectator ions. Those are the ions which do not take part in the reaction, and therefore will be KNO3. That will be B. In question 19, we're looking at what type of reaction this is. We have 2 solutions producing a solid, making this a precipitation reaction. In this question, we're looking at what colour a compound would be in solution, by looking at the colours the ions produce. Both potassium and sulfate are colourless in solution, so together they would form a colourless solution. Potassium is colourless, whereas chromate is yellow, so that would be yellow in solution. Copper is blue, where sulfate is colourless, so that would be blue. And copper is blue and chromate is yellow, giving green in solution. Therefore, A is the answer. For question 21, I recommend looking at page 10 of your databook. All of the reactions on page 10 are written as reduction reactions. The reaction that we're looking for is oxidation, and therefore the opposite way to those reactions. We're looking for a positive ion to be oxidized. Therefore, we can eliminate the iodide and sulfate, as those are both negative ions. For oxidation, electrons are lost, and therefore the oxidation number increases. This means that nickel 2 to nickel 3 will be an oxidation reaction, as it is losing an electron. For question 22, you'll also want to use page 10 of your databook. Here we're looking at electrochemical cells. In electrochemical cells, electrons will travel from the most reactive to least reactive metal, in this case from zinc to tin. so we can eliminate both A and C. When we do this, the zinc electrode will lose mass. This is because it will lose 2 electrons to form zinc ions. These zinc ions will then dissolve into solution. Therefore, the mass of the electrode will decrease. For question 22, we're looking at radiation. Alpha radiation can be stopped by a sheet of paper, so you can eliminate A and B. Beta radiation can be stopped by some thin metal foil, and gamma by thick concrete, giving C as the answer. For question 24, we're looking at a specific process. We're producing NH3, which is ammonia. Ammonia is produced in the Haber process. We can eliminate A and C. The catalyst for the Haber process is iron. In this question, we're looking at the solubility of compounds. We're specifically looking at them at 40 degrees. So using the graph, we can find what mass of the compounds were dissolved at 40 degrees. We can see here that the potassium chloride, only 40 grams would dissolve, whereas potassium nitrate, 60 grams would dissolve. 50 grams of each was added to the beaker. Therefore, at 40 degrees, only the potassium nitrate would be completely dissolved, and 10 grams of the potassium chloride would still be left over. This gives us D as the answer. Thank you for watching my video. I hope that you found it helpful. Please remember to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of new videos. You can also follow me on Twitter at MissAdamsChem and Instagram MissAdamsChemistry for updates on new videos and flashcards. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.